Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Wiggly Questions. Well, I think we're up to episode number 8 now. We're getting through them, but there's still lots to go, so I'm going to get straight into it. And this is I Plate Everything's question. Well, I think there's 2 actually from I Plate Everything. Good username. I hope you mean I plate everything, not I hate everything, because hating everything wouldn't be a good idea. Because there's lots of great things in life to enjoy. So don't hate everything, but you can plate everything if you like to eat things, if you know what I mean. Well, maybe not everything, because there's bad... Anyway, I'm waffling on. The waffle meter is going berserk. All right, I plate everything. There's going to be 3 questions here. Oh, 3 questions. Okay. Was a video ever made for the song Wahoo Hey, I'm Combing My Hair Today? The answer is no. I don't think there was. No, I'm pretty sure there wasn't, so I can state that fairly categorically. I don't recall doing one. Maybe we did. I don't know, you're asking the wrong person. I've got no idea. Maybe some of you guys know. I don't remember doing it. It's a great song, though. It's a really good song. Now, question number 2. Were the Wiggle puppets in the US version of Yummy Yummy supposed to be creepy? Well, a few people have been asking about this. No, they weren't supposed to be creepy. They ended up being a little bit creepy. But they weren't meant to be, so sorry about that if anybody got freaked out by them. I think that was a fairly common thing. I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but they were made and they looked different. Let's just put it that way. Now, number 3. Look at a map. Is this a question? It says, look at a map of the city of Melvindale, Michigan. Don't you think it looks like the Wiggles logo? It is a question. Okay. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one because I don't have a map of Melvindale here unless I can call it up very quickly using something from our friends at Google known as Google Maps. And I'm going to type in Melvindale, Michigan and see what comes up, okay? Melvindale, Michigan. If I've spelt that correctly, yes I have, and there's Melvindale. Okay, let's see what happens when we type in Melvindale, Michigan. Does it look like the Wiggles logo? Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. Not for me. I'm sorry. It doesn't do it for me. I played everything. I'm really sorry. I could be looking at the wrong thing, but Melvindale's just outside of Detroit by the look of it, where we played. We played Detroit a few times, the Fox Theatre there. It was a great time. We also were in I think it was a Thanksgiving Day parade there. I'm pretty sure that's the case, yeah. It was the Thanksgiving Day parade. All right, so that's your 3 questions there. I played everything, and remember, don't hate everything and don't plate everything necessarily, because some food's sometimes food and some food is always food and all that kind of thing. Moving on now to Q. Wow, okay, I'm going to struggle with this screen name, so I'm just going to leave it alone. But you know who you are. It says, hi Greg, I used to live in New Zealand and a TV show called What Now was on, and I remember you and the rest of the Wiggles were on there. Can you tell me a bit about it, and is the footage still around? Well, I think we're on What Now a couple of times actually. It was out of Christchurch, I remember that, but I really don't remember too much about it. But a funny thing happened a few years back with another project that I'm working on now called 2x2, and you can check out 2x2's YouTube channel right here. We actually got in touch with somebody. We were auditioning for roles in 2x2, and somebody approached us who was actually a host of What Now. Now, not at the time when the Wiggles were on the show, but this girl, Gemma Knight, she's an incredible talent, and she worked on What Now for about 5 years, I think. Now, for those of you who don't know the show What Now, it was a live TV show. I think it was every Saturday morning. And so 3 hours of live TV every Saturday. And Gemma used to be on this show for 5 years running, and she is just incredible. So we used her with 2x2, and she's absolutely awesome. She's a great girl and a very good talent. So What Now is kind of a crazy show because it's live. Live TV is always a little bit crazy in some ways, a bit like doing Wiggly Questions, because the camera just starts and it rolls, and I just talk and talk and talk and try to use up screen time. Well, not use it up, but try to fill it with something that's entertaining and engaging for you guys. So I'm going to leave that question right there because I haven't got much more to say about it, to be honest. And I'll move on to Bev R. And Bev R says, when you were here with the Wiggles, when you were with the Wiggles, did you guys ever go to small towns in Canada in the early days when you first toured in Canada? Oh, boy. Look, I don't know what you call a small town, Bev. We did a lot of towns in Canada. and I can't really remember what towns we did. I know we did Edmonton. I know we did Vancouver. I know we did Toronto. We did, I don't know. We did a long trip across the mountains. We went up through Banff. And I know it was a long way from where we played last, over on the sort of eastern side of Canada. We drove a long way from there. So it was up around, I'm feeling like I want to say Windsor, but I know it's probably not Windsor because I just looked at the map of Melvindale and saw Windsor there opposite the thing from across the river from Detroit. So I don't think it was Windsor, but it's a name like that in Canada. Please correct me, guys. Find out the name of this town that we might have played at. Anyway, we played over there on the eastern side of Canada and drove in the bus. I think it was a whole day of driving, like literally a whole day and night of driving across Canada, up through Banff. We didn't stop and play there, and then we went down the mountains again and we ended up in, I think it might have been Edmonton. Would that be right? Let me know, please. But no, look, as you can tell, I don't really remember much about it, unfortunately. But the thing you guys have to understand is we did so many shows, like literally thousands and thousands of shows. And yeah, it did become a bit of a blur sometimes. And, sometimes you'll write things and it'll trigger memories for me. But I am getting old too, I'm losing my mind a little bit. No, that's not strictly true, but yeah, I am getting old. And the older you get, the more things you've got to remember. And sometimes you just don't remember things very clearly. Anyway, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So, Bev, I'm sorry that I don't remember some of the small towns that we might have gone to in Canada, but I can honestly say that we had a great time touring. Because all the children we played to were just so amazing and really made the shows quite special. So, I've said it before, no matter how we were feeling on a day of doing shows, if you had a cold, if you were sick, if you were injured, if you were whatever, a little bit unhappy with life, you'd walk on stage and you could just feel the energy from the crowd. And, being in the Wiggles was just such an amazing experience. So, my memory of specific things might not be that good, but, I've got many, many great memories of being a part of the Wiggles. And you guys are a part of that too. So thank you. Moving on to Daniel Mybus. Now, hi Greg, the Wiggles was a big part of my childhood, especially the videos, with Toot Toot and Wiggly Safari being two personal favourites. Question 1. What was the reason that Cat the Kaz segments got replaced with the kindergarten segments in reruns of the original TV series? Wow. Okay, now, I only vaguely remember Kaz the Cat. I know that we had Kaz the Cat in the show, but I really cannot remember what Kaz the Cat did. And this is the problem with me just logging on and reading your questions. I don't have time to research anything. And it's not, I don't know. Is it on YouTube somewhere? Maybe somebody's put it on YouTube. I don't know. It might be there somewhere. Kaz the Cat. I'll have to look into that. But in terms of the kindergarten segments and why it was replaced, that I also really don't know. So I'm sorry. A lot of your questions I'm not going to be able to answer, guys. But it's good to know that you guys know so much about the Wiggles. You know more than me. Well, maybe not more than me. You probably know a lot of things that I don't know, but there'd be things that I probably know that you guys don't know. And that's why I'm here, to fill in the missing blanks. But I'm not doing a very good job of that, am I? Because I can't even really remember what Kaz the Cat... I do remember what Kaz the Cat was, but I just can't really remember what the segments were about. Anyway, question 2 from Daniel. Was the filming of the Wiggles movie the first time you guys had the trademark, the Wiggles logo on your skivvies and belts, or were they first used in any concerts that took place at the very start of 1997 before filming began? I always considered this to be the transition between the old videos and the newer videos. Now, again, you're testing me here. Gosh. Look, if you had to ask me, and you are, and if I had to answer, and I'm trying to, I would probably say, and I could be wrong, but can you please check out the DVD or the video of Wiggly Wiggly Christmas? And I think that was from 1996. And I reckon that Wiggly Wiggly Christmas, and I'm just going to log on to our favourite search engine here, Google. I mean, you can use whatever search engine you want. You can use Bing or, I don't know, is that Ask Jeeves? Is that a search engine or something, or is that like prehistoric now? I don't know. I just go to Google because it's nice and easy. And if I type in Wiggly Christmas, well, it comes up, Wiggly Wiggly Christmas 1996. Or maybe we did, 1996, that's right. So that would be before the Wiggles movie, because we shot that in 97. Now, if I look at images of Wiggly Wiggly Christmas, no, you see, my memory let me down there. I thought we had the Wiggles logos on there, but no, we're still wearing our very first lot of skivvies. So maybe, Daniel, maybe it is the case that the movie was the first time those logos appeared on, yeah. Actually, I'm just looking at an album cover of Wiggly Wiggly Christmas. It looks like it's a US album cover. And we do have the logos on that, but that was obviously well after 96, because we didn't really make it to the US until around about 98, 99. And this DVD of Wiggly Wiggly Christmas would have come out in the US in probably 2000 or 2001, I reckon. So, the answer to your question, Daniel, is I think that may have been the first time the logos appeared on the skivvies. About there, yeah, about there they were. And the belts too. Yeah, gee, I don't know. I remember it was a pretty big moment when we got those done, because they were pretty cool belts. And it was interesting, to have finally the Wiggles logo on our shirts. So maybe it was the movie. Maybe that was the first thing that we used them for. Anyway, sorry I can't really help out there. Now, Michael Mills. Okay. Hey, Greg. Now, this is a good question. Hey, Greg, I was just wondering if you could react to any Wiggles video clips on your channel. You know what? I'd like to do that, because it's going to be a good way for me to refresh my memory on this stuff. So, coming up soon, we're going to have Wiggly song lyrics being posted, where you test me on Wiggles song lyrics. And the way I'm going with all this stuff, I'll be very lucky to be able to get song lyrics right? Although I've probably got a better memory for lyrics than I have for this kind of thing, because all this stuff sort of just happened and it sort of comes in your mind and out the other side, whereas lyrics, I'm pretty good with. And well, we'll test that out in Wiggly song lyrics. All right, now then, as to your question, I think I will do that, but I'm not going to be able to show the videos as I'm watching them. So you're probably going to hear me narrate them. So what we'll do is we'll set it up where I say, okay, today I'm going to be looking at Wake Up Jeff video. And I guess the problem we're going to have there is between the different versions, the Australian version, the US version, the 1995 version of Wake Up Jeff, and the 2003 version of Wake Up Jeff, or whatever it might be. But I'll name which version I'm looking at on wherever I find it. And I'm sure there's some versions of it on YouTube which might not be wholly right, if you know what I mean, but they're probably still there. So I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to watch them and sort of narrate through them as we go and laugh along at the memories of the guy with black hair and the skinny waistline back then. And I'm not talking about Jeff. He's still got a skinny waistline. And he's still got black hair, actually. Now to think about it, how does he do that? He doesn't dye it. I dyed my hair for a while, but I gave up. I just gave up because the greys just took over. So if you've read my book, you'll know I started going grey at 16, and it was a very big concern for me. At the age of 16 to have grey hair, it was not a good look. But now I've embraced it. I've just gone, yep, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. So George Clooney, I'm in your club now. Well, as far as the grey hair goes, not as far as the good looks go. But at least I'm in your club for some reason. Not for acting either, that's for sure. But I probably do know more about the Wiggles than you, George. That's something I might have over you, maybe. Now, Crystal May Littlejohn says, hi, Greg Page. Do you know when the original Wiggles 18 Plus concert will do a concert in Queensland? Unfortunately, no, I don't. I haven't heard anything about it, so I'm not sure whether it's going to happen or not. I would say that we're probably not going to do any more of those because they were done pretty much just for the 25-year anniversary of the Wiggles beginning. In 1991 we began. 25 years later was 2016, and the last one we did was December 2016. So we're probably not going to do any more. But we'll see what happens. Now, Charlie Plowman says, hi, Greg. I'm loving the Q&A videos. Good, I'm glad you are. Because they're challenging, I tell you. They're challenging for a number of reasons. I'm trying to get through all the questions, and I'm trying to remember the answer to your questions. Now, do you have any idea on how the Live Potatoes tour came about with a live band instead of backing tracks? Phew, finally, a question that I think I know about. And Charlie says, they were terrific, and you guys, as always, did a fantastic job. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay, so with the Wiggles, we started out using backing tracks that Jeff programmed on his keyboard. You see, back in the old days, pretty much not the only way, but one of the easiest ways to get a backing track together was to use MIDI and use a sequencer. And Jeff had a sequencer on his keyboard, so he would program in the songs. I mean, I don't know how he did it back then, but today we've got all this technology, and you can see behind me there, that's my iMac set up with Logic. It's called Logic. Well, it used to be called Logic Audio. I think today it's just called Logic. And I do a lot of stuff on that, and my good friend Anthony Costa, he comes along and fixes things for me on that I either do wrong or not properly, but it's enough for me to work with. And back in the old days, Jeff would program all that sort of stuff that I do on computer now. He'd do it on his keyboard, on his Korg M1, I think it was. That was one of the first ones he had. Then he had a Kurzweil, I think. Anyway, back to your question. Getting the waffle meter's going berserk. It's going, Greg, you're waffling. Stop. Okay, so the Live Potatoes tour came about because we'd been using backing tracks for a while, and I guess we wanted to try something different. And we had a great team together at that time playing on the recordings in the studio. We had Dom Lindsay, we had Tony Henry on drums, we had Rex Go on guitar for the live shows, we had John O'Grady on bass. And we just had a really good feel about the songs, and we thought, okay, well, we've used backing tracks a lot. We want people to know that this is actually live, that the music now is live. I mean, I was always singing live, and I guess that was part of it, that we thought, okay, well, people come along to the show, they see the same thing every day. It's the same backing tracks, same show, same routines. Let's spice things up a little bit, as much for us as for the audience. And so that's pretty much how it came about, Charlie, and it was a great experience. They were a great band, incredible musicians, and I think it was only one tour that we did here in Australia. It was what we used to call our Big Show tour. And I don't even know, Live Hot Potatoes, if that came out in the US, I've got no idea. Maybe some of our US friends will be able to tell us, Charlie. I don't know if you're in the US or not, but if you are, let me know, okay? Now, moving on to Limo or Lamo Muhammad. Hi, Greg. My name is Lamo, not sure. And I have four questions. Goodness. Okay. Why did they choose you to be the driver of the big red car over Jeff? Okay, well, here we go. Going back to the very first video of Big Red Car, and it was called that, Big Red Car, Jeff was the driver. But then we realised that with Jeff falling asleep all the time, it probably wasn't very safe for Jeff to be the driver of the big red car. And so then somehow, and I'm not sure why I became the driver, but somebody else had to be the driver. Maybe it was because maybe I was the best driver. I don't know. No, probably not that reason. I don't know. I don't know why I ended up being the driver, actually. But I'm pretty sure it did start out with Jeff being the driver of the big red car, because if we go back to Big Red Car, I know he was there. Yeah, look, oh gosh. It's funny, I'm starting to doubt myself. I started out with this answer so confidently. I still think I'm right. Okay, I'm going to check, because I've got the power of Google here. I should do this every day. Why didn't I think of this before? Crazy. Not Google Maps. That's not going to help me out with this one. Why is Jeff the big red car driver? Okay, so if I type in big red car, let's see what happens. Big red car. Okay, there's a picture of me driving it, but that's not good. We want to know where Jeff was driving it, and I'm pretty sure... Can I find a picture of Jeff driving the big red car? Come on, Google. Do your work. Aha, there it is. Yeah, there's Jeff driving the big red car. So that was the big red car video from, I reckon, 1996. Would that be right? I reckon I'm pretty close there. And yes, we decided that it was unsafe for Jeff to be driving the big red car, given that he suffered from narcolepsy, which is a predisposition to falling asleep spontaneously. So that's why somebody else had to drive. As to why it was me, I can't remember. But I'm glad I got chosen, because the guys must have thought I was a great driver. And I think it did a pretty good job of driving the big red car over the years, apart from that time in the movie where I kind of fishtailed the car a little bit, taking off. Now, second question from Limo or Lamo. What's your favourite TV series in The Wiggles? Well, I think I've answered this one before for somebody else. I think series number 1 was my favourite for a number of reasons, so you might have to go back through some of the old Wiggly Questions answers to find out why that was. Why did you replace the Wiggle House door in the movie and the TV series to the one that smiles? Okay, well, look, I think because smiling is much better than being grumpy, and that original door was a little bit grumpy. So I think we looked at that and we felt that we could improve things a little bit. So we made the door a lot happier, and I think we gave it a female voice too. It became Florador. And look, it's one of the things with the Wiggles. We never really sat. Well, I shouldn't say never. We didn't often sit down and plan things a long way into the future. And I guess that's part of what the beauty of the Wiggles was, that it was never planned and constructed so precisely, which gave us flexibility, and we could just change things and gives you guys a reason to ask questions 20 years later. I don't know. It's just one of those things where lots of things changed. We changed our uniforms. The costumes would change for the characters. You look at Wags from day one, and he's evolved. I mean, originally Wags was like a sausage dog. I don't think he's on video, but he was a very long dog. We kind of had one person at the front, one person at the back, if you know what I mean. And it was like a couch. It was like a moving couch is how we used to describe it, actually. So we did away with that. Got a different costume for Wags. Dorothy evolved over the years. Everything was always evolving, and quite often there was no rhyme or reason that we explained. Okay, so here's a perfect example. What's the relationship between the four Wiggles? If anybody out there can answer that question, you'll be helping me a lot, because I don't know, are we brothers? Are we friends? I don't know. There's times in some of the Wiggles TV series where it's like we're brothers, we're family. We're talking about family. We're looking at a photo album. I'm pretty sure we're looking at a photo album. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever been stated what the relationship is. It's something I still don't know. I mean, of course, I know personally that we were friends and that we did the Wiggles together because we were mates. But in terms of what the Wiggles were on screen, I don't think it was ever kind of stated, and it probably doesn't need to be. But it's just one example of it not, like what you've said here. Why did we replace the door? I don't know. There's no reason why, apart from that, we decided that that's the way it should be. And that was the beauty of the Wiggles. We could just decide what we felt at the time, and we didn't really have to justify it. And I think, now that a lot of you guys are getting older, you're kind of analysing things more, whereas as children, you probably didn't analyse it so much. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong there, because I guess that's what we were thinking at the time. Children will accept things on face value a lot of the time. And that's something that we see often with children, that they'll just kind of look at things, they'll centre on things, and they'll centre on the big picture of the Wiggles rather than little things and wonder why it's changed. They'll just accept that the door has changed from a male voice, a male grumpy voice at that, to a very happy female voice. Waffle meter going berserk again. Okay, one last question. I'm sorry, I've run out of time. Okay, Daniel Amendola, not quite sure. Hi Greg, I posted this question on an earlier video. Okay, sorry about that. My name is Daniel. I'm an aspiring children's entertainer myself. Good, well done, mate. I perform with a group called Kids Magic Life, KML. And like most people my age, I was a fan of the Wiggles. As a kid today, I look to them for inspiration in my own performance. And I was wondering what advice you give to an aspiring children's entertainer like me. Okay, good. The big thing for children's entertainment is it's about the children. It's not about you, all right? So when you're on stage, remember that whilst people are looking at you, they're not looking at you because you are you. They're looking at you because you are there to entertain them, and you are there to facilitate them having a good time, all right? So you need energy, you need to engage with the audience, you need to be happy, and you need to not fake it. So like I said before, whenever we were feeling down, unwell, feeling a little bit personally not 100%, you could walk on stage and the energy there would pick you up, and that energy is what drove you across the line to deliver a performance. It wasn't always easy, but it really helped. So feed off that energy. Make sure that you use the energy and give back to the crowd as well. It's a two-way street. It's not all about you giving to them, and it's not all about them giving to you. It's about everybody enjoying the experience together. So make sure that you make it about the child, and if the child is having a great time, everyone will have a great time too, including you. All right? That's the best bit of advice I can give. Now, I am just looking at this page of questions, and there is a stack there. Now, I just want to scroll up ahead because I did see one here from Natalia Small. Now, Natalia, I did read a question from you earlier. Now, Natalia was in, I think, one of my practical teaching classes when I was at university. So I studied teaching, but I never got to actually teach. The only times I taught was when I did prac teaching to pass my university course. And I'm pretty sure, Natalia, I remember you from, I'm pretty sure it was Baulkham Hills Public School, right? Which is the school that I went to. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was either that or Parramatta West. Was it Parramatta West I did my other prac teaching at? Anyway, I'm pretty sure, Natalia, that it was Baulkham Hills Public School. So please write in and let me know, okay? So you're saying this is a question that pops into my head every time I recall all those years back at school, okay, near nap time, when you say, oh, that's interesting, near nap time. So if it's nap time, it might not have been Baulkham Hills Public School, because I don't think we had nap time at primary schools. Anyway, I was just wondering what your first ever song for the Wiggles really was and how you came up with it. Well, it was Rockabye Ya Bear, and that's what you're saying here, that you remember me singing that to you at school. Natalia, I'm pretty sure it was Baulkham Hills Public School, but as we're seeing, my memory sometimes fades. So please write in. I'm going to get to the other questions later, everybody. I'm getting there slowly but surely. I'm having a lot of fun because it is testing my memory, and I hope I'm not boring the heck out of you guys. So stay tuned for more answers to your wiggly questions coming up real soon. Bye now.